Jai Gurudev and welcome to this another week summary of Yoga Vasishta 26th of June to 1st of July. And if you remember, last time we were talking about a person, a wise man by the name of Gadhi, who was he went into the water and he started meditating for the Lord Vishnu's name, and he wanted to see him and ask him for a boon. And then when Lord Vishnu came to him, he said, of course, what do you want? And then Gadhi said, I want to know the all the thing that is been happening. I want to just find out how this illusion, how this Maya is, everything is happening here. And then Lord Vishnu said, yes, of course you can have that. And then he then started reflecting everything into his own consciousness. Like he saw himself as becoming a tribe man who was accidentally selected by the royal elephant as a king, and then he ruled there as a king for a few years. And then after that, some other tribe man came to see him, and then one of them recognized him that he is not a tribe man, but he is not a king, but he is a tribe man. Then many of the people who were worshipping him and respecting him as a king in that particular kingdom felt like we have become impure by ruled by the tribe man, and then they started giving their life to the fire, and then they were just wanted to purify themselves. So there is a significance. Fire always purifies you, so means something related, not related to the yoga vasishta, but something related to the fire element in us. That's why there is a fire in our body. There is fire in our stomach. So if you go for fasting, then you are purifying that fire. If you fire is in our eyes, so if you purify it, if you don't trouble too much of your eyes, and if you just give it rest, then you're purifying that fire is in our body, like body is maintaining the temperature. So if you wear proper clothing, take care of the body, or in a way don't use the body irrespectful, or use the body respectfully and look after the body, then that fire element inside us is being respected and looked after. And then when the fire element inside us is reflected and looked after, then it starts purifying the system that in which it is reflecting. So that's why the whole concept of this looking after our body, or looking after our stomach, and all those things just come up into the place by respecting that particular element inside us. So that concept applies here as well. Again, it's a concept, so be mindful. So that if we want to purify ourselves, and those people, they started jumping into the fire and seeing them. This king also, who was a tribe man turned into the king, jumped into the fire, and his things were burning. However, this was all reflecting into the dream, or into the thoughts of the person who is meditating in the river. And then he got aware of all those things, and he started reflecting on himself. That's where we stopped last week. If you remember, the last sentence, the last paragraph before the day end was this king, whose name was Gavala. King Gavala reflected, alas, all this is brought because of me, so why should I continue to live? Death is perishable. For one who is dishonored by the people, death is better than life. And then he calmly offered his body into the fire, and as fire begins to consume the limbs of Gavala, Gadhi, the one who was reciting the prayers, immersed into the water, regained his consciousness. Now, page number 178, 26th of June. Vasishta continued. Gadhi wondered, who am I? What did I see, and how? He concluded that because he was fatigued, his mind had obviously played some tricks on him. Surely all this was illusory, for I do not perceive anything now. So now when he got into the state of consciousness, become aware of himself, he said, I can't see that all these things here around me. I'm still here in water and meditating, so maybe this is just a trick. And then after some days, he just got a guest a Brahmana who came, and he said, why are you here and what are you doing? So he said, there is a kingdom, and in that kingdom, there was a king, and that king was a tribe man, but he ruled himself as a king. So everything is impure, and I also feel polluted, so hence I'm going for a prolonged fasting. That's why I'm so weak and all that. The Brahmana was looking quite weak, and then he was surprised after listening to the Brahmana story, this person, wise person, Gadi, and he contemplated further, that which I saw is an hallucination. My gaze saw as a factual event. How is that possible? As I should verify the story myself. And having said that, he proceeded to the place where all those took place. Men of highly evolved consciousness can, by appropriate self-effort, attain even what has been mentally visualized. Gadi thus saw, after reaching to the destination, whatever he had seen in his vision. So he actually started seeing everything in reality, in the reality, in the sense, in the material aspects reality. He was seeing all those things there as the way he was seen. And then he saw, and then he asked some people, then he said, yes, the tribe man lived here, and then he was became a king, and then he was disowned, and then he came back. All the stories he heard, if you read all those last few paragraphs on page number 178, you will understand that how everything has been reflected in the thought process as a hallucination in the Gadi's mind or consciousness, is actually become a material reality in when he went and visited the city. So the hallucination that I had in my dream, how is it also seen in a wakeful state? This was the question he asked himself. So then, of course, the Lord Vishnu came to visit him. He said, that which you see is an hallucination. It is truly not but the self, but perceived by the mind, which has not been purified and which is not realized the truth. So this is very important. This is very important, that he is getting all those hallucination visions and all that, because according to the Lord, his mind is getting better and better, but it is not realized the truth. Till the time the mind is not realized the truth, the mind is working as it is, as a separate entity, and all these concepts which have been stored on the level of the mind and body regarding this universe, regarding about yourself in the form of impressions, get reflected in your own consciousness as a form of concept and dreams and visions, and you see yourself as, oh my goodness, why this is still happening, or why is it true or is it not true? This is very important to understand, because people who has achieved some powers or some miracles or progress on the path of spirituality start getting these things, and they consider those visions as a pure visions or as a messages from the universe and all that, and then they start acting on that. You will see lots of people around you also using these powers, but that is not the ultimate. If the message is coming, then there has to be a messenger, and there has to be someone who is receiving the message from the messenger. So there are three aspects. So again, we are into duality. So this is, are you getting what I'm saying? We have to cross that and go on the other side as well, if you want to spiritually completely incline and understand the true nature of yourself. Then it will not stop you or bother you. Otherwise, it will just keep going back into that, all those things. So that's what Lord Vishnu was saying. I am a tribe man, I am a king, I have Brahmana guest, and I am going to this place, I am in the Kira kingdom. All these are nothing but all this was but the hallucination, he said then. And you have really not seen the place. All these were just your illusions. Oh Gadi, these incidents are reflected in your mind. Sometimes many people have the same dream. Several people experience the same hallucination. He's saying several children play the same game. Several children play the same game. Several people experience the same hallucination. See what is trying to say, what is aiming to say. We will read the next sentence, and that will make more sense. He further goes, Lord Vishnu, and says, whatever you saw in these two places was possibly true. The tribe man known as Kantanja was indeed born some time ago. He lost his kinsman and became the king. All this was reflected in your own consciousness. Now understand this. You are still thinking yourself as an individual entity and trying to understand this, so it will become very difficult for you. I'm telling you in advance. However, if you see from the point of view where you are the unmanifested infinite consciousness in which everything is manifested, then this will make sense. To give a very good example, the closest element to that we can refer to and we can understand with our intellect is a space. Now consider yourself as a space, and now in that space there is everything. There is sun, there is earth, there are all the other planets and they are rotating, there are stars, there is moon, there is everything. In the earth there are all these houses, there are all these human beings, there are all these animals, there are all, everything is a part of the space. Now if the space wants to know, space will come to know there is a particular bird flying here at that particular time. The same space will realize that there is a particular human being working in the city in China. There is another human being, female human being who is working in America. There is a male human being working in India. There is a female human being working in Australia. So the space can become aware of all those facts and figures that's happening in the manifested world as a part of itself and see that as a reflection. That's what has happened to this particular person. He was immersed deep into his consciousness and he became one with the consciousness like the space, and in the space everywhere he was reflecting as a different entities, and everywhere it was evolving and manifesting as a different person, as a king, as a tribe man, as so and so, as not so and so, and then everything was emerging back to himself as a pure consciousness, and the one point from where he was referring all those things was the Gadhi who was into the water meditating. This might be little difficult for you to understand, so you go back and again hear this what I just said. Once you understand that, then you will realize, oh my goodness, it is possible for all those things to happen simultaneously in the same consciousness, which is as it is happening, and we are seeing as in different individualities, but on the level of the consciousness it is the same consciousness which is reflecting from everything as like a space element, and everything is just happening in that space element or in that consciousness as the bubbles rising in the water or the waves coming on the ocean. That's where the reference for all those things comes in. Everything is happening in, all this is reflected in your own consciousness. All this is reflected in your consciousness. So again, it is not his individual consciousness. All this is reflected into your consciousness because you have reached to that level, that point inside you from where you are not seeing the individuality. That individual personality that you're projecting yourself as a Gadi has been dropped. Once that is dropped, then it just becomes one. I will give you another example. If you drop your body and if you drop your mind right now, what is your existence? The same existence is there that you can say that can be seen as a pure consciousness. The same existence can be seen as a pure consciousness without body, without mind, but you are existing. And then in that state, if you imagine also, forget about your experience, if you imagine also that state for some time, then you will see, oh my goodness, I am here, then I am there. I don't know what's happening in that individual body mind complexity, but I can be there, I can be there, I can be everywhere, and I can be anywhere. So because you are not fully enlightened, further Lord says to him, fully enlightened, your mind clings on to the illusion of the objective perception. Get up and meditate intense for 10 years. What is the advice? Meditate for 10 years. So now he is going to leave everything and meditating for 10 years, 24 hours a day, or maybe few hours he will do his some required things, eat or sleep, eat or use all the other things. But almost 20 to 22 hours every day he is meditating for 10 years. So that much is the time required for that particular level of the mind to get to the highest level, to understand itself when it is already wise and when it is already meditated. Now come to our level now. Now implement this in our life. How much time it will take for us to reach to that level? Don't be disheartened. This is where the grace and the power of Guru comes in our life, that when you are surrendered, when you are understanding the knowledge and when you are purifying the knowledge, it has got the power that can fast forward this track. You don't have to meditate as in meditate for 20 hours. Just a glimpse of this knowledge, that you understand yourself, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, and I'm something beyond this, and you can start reaching to that level, is also fast forward your process. That's why the Jnana Yoga, the path of the knowledge, is also very, very important and very, very strong in the sense, because it takes you close to the reality, and it has got the power to make you one with the reality. In Karma Yoga, you are doing the service and you are always doing the action, and you are involved into the action, and for the action the doer is required. Again, that also dissolves into that oneness afterwards. But the starting point and the middle point, until and unless you reach to the complete advanced level, it doesn't dissolve. The doership is always there. In Bhakti Yoga, there has to be two. One, I, and one I'm surrendered to. Until and unless the Bhakti Yoga turns into the advanced level of surrendering yourself and dissolving into yourself, it will not progress. And then the Raj Yoga, where you are learning the techniques and applying all these techniques and knowledge on techniques and these meditative processes and all that on yourself, and realizing the truth and all that. But still there are two. One is the processes and techniques aspect of it on the body mind complexity, and one is that one who is experimenting that, and all those dissolves into that at the end of the day. Jnana Yoga, or Jnana Yoga, you can't say Jnana Yoga, but it is a path which dissolves into the oneness and tells you that yes, both is there, the two is not there, there is just one. The one has reflected into many, and that's why it is creating the illusion. And when you go back to the source, which is the purest form, and when you see everything as a witness, even that is not the final step, but that starts giving you some glimpses, that starts giving you some ideas about how this whole world is working. That is where the Gadi is. He is experiencing and witnessing all those things and getting confused with the illusion happening. So that's why he's been advised to meditate more, because then he has to transfer the witness consciousness as well. Witness consciousness is there because it is witnessing something. No, there is nothing to witness, then what the witness consciousness is going to do? It is going to simply dissolve into that absolute or nothingness from where it has come from. So that is the final state that we can reach up to, and then let go, and then the many things happen. This could be little bit higher to understand, little bit difficult to understand, but just you heard this, keep thinking over it, keep intellectually understanding it, keep imagining it, and one day the experience will come. It takes long time, depending on how much efforts you are putting every day, The cosmic illusion Maya, again 28th of June, we are continuing. Vasishtha is saying, the cosmic illusion Maya creates great delusion and is of the nature of disequilibrium. It is extremely difficult to understand it. What comparison can be given to the hallucination which lasts for the brief duration of an hour's dream to the whole lifetime? So he is just saying, Vasishtha is also saying the same thing, that because this is the consciousness, and in everything is the consciousness is the most powerful tool that you can have to understand yourself and understand the manifested world. In the other words, we can say that. And then if that consciousness is there, and if again it's not an individual consciousness, it's a universal consciousness, but that on an individual level you have to reach to the individual understanding about that I amness to dissolve into the amness, to dissolve into the furthermore thing. So everything is one, but everything has just created those divisions for its when you are reaching to that particular level. If you are on the level of the body, and if you are talking to someone, then you are on the level of the body. Then there are two. If you are telling someone, if you are asking someone, if you are communicating someone, scolding someone, there are two. On the mind level, if you're emotionally attached, then there is different way of communication, and then we are going down. But each level, when you are existing, that level is very powerful, and you feel that existence on that level. So now this the form that we can reach up to is the consciousness. If you reach, then there are so many different varieties of the living creatures element is there that we can experience, and which has come out of this consciousness as a diverse things. Everything is unique on its own, and everything is different on its own. So that's why he is saying it is very difficult to understand it. How can you understand what's happening in the tree? How can you understand what's happening in the mind of a bird? How can you understand what's happening in the mind of the other person? Creatures, everything is so difficult. Again, how can you relate that is seen in the hallucination to what is seen in front of in your own eyes? Hence, I tell you, O Rama, the cosmic illusion leads the unwary mind into the endless difficulties. So if you are getting attached to that and getting worked out with all those things and try to understand that, it is going to got you into more difficulties, which has happened to our beautiful friend Gadi. Like he just said, give me the boon to understand the whole illusion, and Lord said, okay, fine, you be happy. And then he got more into more difficulties. Then Lord Rama asked the question, but holy sir, how can one restrain this wheel of cosmic illusion which revolves with such tremendous force? So how can one comes out of that? O Rama, the mind is a hub around which the vicious cycle revolves, creating delusion in which the mind is deluded. If it is by the firmly restraining the hub through the intense self-effort and keep intelligence that the whole wheel is brought to the stand still. The disease of the perception of this world illusion is not cured except through the mastery of the mind, which is its own remedy. Live in the present with your consciousness externalized momentarily and without any effort. When the mind stops linking itself to the past and the future, it becomes no mind. So basically, Rama asks, how can I become aware of this, all those things happening and Maya and all that? How can I get my mind out of that? So be in the present moment. You are existing only in this moment. That's it. This is the ultimate truth. You take it, you don't take it. Your mind is creating that illusion of past and future, but there is no past, there is no future. That event which you call it as a past, you are existing in that event, present moment, and that time. Now you are just memory. Your memory is just creating that thing. Oh, yesterday at 10 o'clock I was doing this, but yesterday at 10 o'clock it was that present moment which you were living. Today at this time you are living into this present moment. Tomorrow when you think about that, tomorrow at 10 o'clock I will be doing this, that is going to be the present moment for tomorrow. So you are actually living only in present moment all the time. Your consciousness is there all the time in your present moment. Your mind is there, your body is there always into that present moment. Your breathing is happening always into that present moment. Past and future are just the created illusions by the mind, and your mind is taking you through that memory trips or the imaginary trips of the future or the memory of the past, and just hallucinating and creating that illusion. It is not like that. So the best way is the moment you become aware of that, you are going a step behind the mind and watching the mind functioning its all this drama and creating all this illusion with the past and the future. Then you are becoming separate from the hallucination getting created by the mind in the form of the world appearance, and then you are getting free from that. Is it making any sense? So what is the remedy for that? First is you have to make your body still. You have to make your body still. You have to make your eyes still. You have to make your mind still. If you don't make your mind still also, you have to just be still so that your mind will slow down its activity. Once the mind will slow down its activity, you observe your body, you observe your breathing, you observe your thoughts coming up and down, and then keep practicing that. You observe your feelings. You have to just keep going, stay back to that core witnessing that has been happening, where you are actually seeing all those things, drama happening in you as you. Please understand, consciousness is not in the body. The body is in the consciousness. The mind is in the consciousness. In fact, there is no thing called mind inside you. It is the same consciousness. When it is getting conceptualized and when that energy is flowing into these various ways and using its different characteristics of knowing and remembering and imagining, that the mind is getting created and the past future is getting created, the intellect is getting active. So it is basically the one consciousness which is reflected into the many different forms by using its own characteristics, and the ultimate form, gross form of that mind is your form of the consciousness is your gross form, is your body. So you have to just keep going back. That's what he's saying. And then if from a moment to moment your mind dwells on what is and drops effortlessly at once, the mind becomes no mind. So now, what are you doing now? Are you sitting? Are you walking? What are you doing? Just become aware. You are there in that particular moment. Just become aware that the purest form inside you, I am. Then the things comes. I'm sitting, I'm walking, I'm listening, I'm driving, whatever I'm doing, I'm watching. But that before all those objective comes, that thing is there, I am. And that is that which is going to witness the mind's functioning. Now, consciousness free from the limitations of the mind is known as the intelligence. So it's free from the limitations, it's called intelligence. It is essential nature of no mind, and therefore it is not tainted by the impurities of the concept and percept. So he's talking about the intellect now. Intellect is different than the mind. Then he's talking about that consciousness free from limitations of the mind is known as inner intelligence. It is essential. It is the essential nature of no mind, and therefore it is not tainted by the impurities. So intellect is not tainted by the impurities. Intellect is pure. Okay, the mind is tainted by the impurities and concepts and percept. But see, if we go back to the 7 levels of existence that we talk in our courses: body, mind, breath, mind, intellect, memory, ego, self. So mind is there where all the concepts are there. Then intellect is there where the concepts are not there. Whatever the concepts are creating the drama and right and wrong that is being created, that faculty is getting observed by the intellect, and the intellect is working on that. Intellect tells you yes, no, yes, no, yes, this is right, this is not right, because that is happening on the level of the mind. The memory is different than the intellect. Memory is again not taking a decision like the intellect is. Memory is just creating that data which is stored by analyzing by the intellect into the thing. So you should listen to this. Now your memory will tell, last time when I listened to the knowledge, I felt good. Okay, then your intellect is taking a decision. Okay, then let's listen to this. Now your mind is coming out with the concept, if I will listen it in the morning, it will be good. If I will listen it in the evening, it will be not good, blah, blah, blah. So this is how everything is functioning inside us. Right now you are perceiving this information. Your mind is perceiving this information. You are saying, yes, whatever he's saying is making sense. Your intellect, whatever he's saying is this. Your intellect is becoming sharp by understanding that, analyzing that. Oh, does that mean does he mean like that? Is the Vasishtha saying this? Is Vivek saying this? Is Rama asking this? Intellect is analyzing this. Now it's going deep inside you as a form of memory. That, oh, this is what it is, which could be a conceptual. We don't know that, and it will be changed unless all this mind, intellect, memory, ego, all this will, and self is also the individual self of which we're talking about, the individual consciousness. All this, till the time they dissolve into the ultimate, they will not understand, and they will not be able to see the ultimate or understand the ultimate from this standpoint. Only when they will reach to that standpoint, they will be able to understand that by becoming that. And then everything will be easily observed and seen, and everything will start becoming pure easily after that. That's what is the purification doesn't happens when you start reaching to the next level of your existence. O Rama, while yet remaining active in the world, talking, taking, living, etc., be without mind and realize that you are the pure consciousness. How can you do that? The same way what we discuss. Just go back to that state of I am. The moment you become aware of, yes, there is something inside me which is right now there. I don't know what it is. I don't want to give it a name. Don't be in a hurry of giving it a name. Don't be in a hurry of understanding it. Don't be in a hurry of knowing it. Or it is just there. I know. And then that is listening through the ears, through the mind, through the intellect. That is seeing through the eyes, through the mind. That is what is there, the force for all those things for inside me to work and happen. That is always there. Without that, it is not, nothing is happening. The dead person is there, the body is there, eyes are there, ears are there, but why the dead person is not hearing anything? Because that is not there. One that is functioning through the body is not there. Realize that subject, object and actions do not touch you. The subject, object and actions, everything is happening on the level of the body and mind. Remain as pure consciousness without any disturbance in it. Know I am the all and live in the waking state as if in the deep sleep. This is the wonderful way of understanding the reality. Actually, I tell you, it's my personal experience. As if you are asleep, deep asleep. In the deep sleep, your personality is also gone. It will be very difficult for this concept for you to understand and implement, but you just hear this out. In the deep sleep, you have no body, you have no mind, you don't have even individual consciousness, your memory is gone, your intellect is gone. You are just into that pure form, that there is no existence of your other things to tell you that you are existing. You are existing, but there is nothing that is on the dual form which tells you that you are existing. You are completely one with the whatever that is, So if right now I will imagine myself I am in a deep sleep, then I will lose a hold over my body slowly. I will lose a hold over my mind slowly. My intellect will calm down. My breath will keep going on. It is better if I will close my eyes, of course, and I will just keep going back, dissolving into myself. And then I will reach to that one particular point where I am just there, existing into its purest form. Because I've been so used to having this body as my thing, having this mind always working for me, having this intellect always been active, having my prana moving inside me, creating all those movements, I won't be able to rest peacefully there, but I will get a glimpse of that. That's why it needs a practice. In deep sleep, naturally all those things slows down and disappears, and you rest into that purest state. But however, when you are in a waking state and you are going into the deep sleep, it will become difficult initially, but with the practice you will be able to start getting some glimpses out of that, and then that will take you to the purest form of your witnessing. However, it will surpass the level of the witnessing also, because initially your attention will be outward and you will be witnessing all those things. When you will progress and become advanced and you will stop giving your attention outward and keep the attention on the attendant, then it will start dissolving very easily. See, this is little difficult to understand. It is the nature of the consciousness. When the consciousness is understanding itself and becoming the individual consciousness to know the world, it actually gets into all those things and becomes the body, which is the last form, and then starts working and understanding the world. Now we are withdrawing ourselves, but the natural process that the happening with the consciousness is going outward. Now when we are withdrawing, it takes a long time, because for so many years we have learned this to project. and that attention. Now we are taking back the attention. So attention, that throbbing of that attention being there, will always be there. That is the will keep disturbing us when you start going back. So in that, the last step is just understanding that that attention is going outward, but moving that attention in the opposite direction on the thing that is throwing the attention outside, and then that attention letting it dissolve into the particular existence. Means it's so easy to go into the meditative state in this particular thing. So I'm just reaching to that stage to give you the exact ultimately what is happening. So that is, I hope you are understanding what I'm saying. But this is actually not, I will say, this is actually to practically sit down and experimenting on yourself, and the delusion of, or the ignorance that gave rise to the world appearance comes to an end, and the light of your wisdom will radiate in all four directions throughout the world. And then when you reach to that particular level, you will see only one thing, that is your silent stillness, peace, everything is there, and then in that thing, that silent, that peace, that true nature of yourself has been considered as a light of your wisdom. Only the sage of self-knowledge is a living sentient being, even as when dense cloud forms in the sky and the sun's light is veiled, when the mind becomes gross with impurities and ignorance, the light of the self-knowledge is veiled. So that is what the problem is, that the mind is become so strong with all the concept, the body is become so hard with all those gross things, the intelligence is becoming so strong with his analytical power, the memory is becoming so strong with all the concepts it has been stored, the ego is becoming so strong with I am so and so individual, and I have to know this knowledge from my individual point of view, I have to exist, and I have to dissolve into that supreme consciousness. How can you dissolve if you are individual? Your individuality is coming out of that, and then your individual consciousness that I am feeling also is there, which is telling you, no, I am there existing as pure I am, and everything is projected on me as an individual. Till the time you are all these levels there, you are just going round and round and round and round. That's it. And that's why you will not be able to rest. What happens in a deep sleep? Again, go back to that natural phenomena which is happening every night with us. In that deep sleep, when you sleep, you go back one step. First, you will have the awareness of the surrounding. Then you will lie in a bed. Then you will be turning and tossing and doing some of the movements, because your body needs to be in one perfect position. Once the body comes into the perfect position, you will start losing the awareness of the body. You will reach to the level of the mind. Your mind will have some thoughts coming in and out. I have to plan this, oh no, sleep now, why are you thinking about this? Then you will go one step down and you will say, okay, fine, and then your breath will slow down, your mind will start becoming calm, relaxed. Then you will go one step further down, and then after that there will be some little bit of understanding that yes, I am just there in the form of just that individual entity which is sleeping on the bed, and boom, you will just go into that deep sleep state. What happens when you wake up? The same thing. If you observe carefully, you just become aware of that state, that yes, I am something, individual thing. Then all of a sudden, within the fraction of a second, all those things happens which I am going to tell you now. You become aware of that. All of a sudden your awareness comes about that individuality, your awareness comes about that mind, your awareness comes about that body, and your awareness lastly come about the surrounding. That's why sometimes when you get up also, you don't know whether it's a day or night, which day it is, where you are, what is happening around you. Because when you come back, it takes some time for that consciousness to understand the world, understand your own body, understand your own surroundings, the time, the space in which, the place where it is existing, and all that. So there is a process of going back down into the deep sleep, and there is a process of coming out of the deep sleep. What he is suggesting here is, if you keep doing that in the waking state, that itself will be a wonderful meditation for you to understand your true nature. Okay, therefore one should abandon the craving for the pleasure, those that have been experienced in the past, other others that have been not yet been experienced but for which one craves, and thus gradually weaken the mind by the abandonment of the taste of them. Then he is giving some more ideas about, you have experienced all the cravings and all the pleasures and your mind is throbbing on that, then become aware of that. Mind is looking for that pleasure, mind is looking for that experience to happen it again and again, and then tell your mind it is all the cravings, we already experienced that, then come back slowly to its natural state. Then the last page for today, 1st of July, page number 183. Vasishtha said, "O Rama, this mind is like a tree which is firmly rooted into the vicious field known as the body. And this mind is like an elephant which roams into the forest known as body. This mind is like a crow which dwells into the nest of the body. This mind is like a ghost. It is served by the female goblin known as the craving. It rests in the forest of the ignorance, roams countless bodies out of the delusion. O Rama, this mind is like a venomous serpent which is killed countless beings. O Rama, this mind is like a monkey which roams from one place to another. O Rama, this mind is like a cloud of ignorance." All the means, this is nothing, you can, if you start realizing a little bit more about your true nature, you can give another 20 more examples about what this mind is. This mind is like this mind is like that. You can have your own examples of that, but he has just given some summary of how all these names given to the mind, because they all have got different characteristics, and how the mind is fit into all these characteristics. Even as a terrible weapon is encountered and destroyed by the powerful weapon, tranquilize the mind with the help of the mind itself. Forever abandon every form of mental agitation. Remain at peace within yourself like a tree freed from the disturbance caused by the monkeys. So if you are a tree, you are still, you are there, and then there are monkeys jumping around you, but the tree is not getting affected. The tree is not moving, tree is not shaking, tree is not changing its place, tree is just there and just witnessing the drama that is getting created by the monkeys. The same way, if you just go to the core of your being, and if you see the mind functioning, the thoughts coming, the thoughts taking you out of your state where you are resting, that you are moving with the thoughts, then again coming back to the center, again you will, one of the thought which will be powerful, which will disturb you and take you out of that, again you will roam around, again you will come back. So this is the drama that is monkeys being doing, mind called monkey doing inside this body. So becoming aware and going back to its source, that is what is there. So how the mind is functioning, how the mind is creating all this illusion, how the mind is creating all this drama, how you can come out of this mind and rest into yourself, this is what was the core of this particular week's summary and reading. So keep reading this, and I will see you next time. Jai Gurudev.